When you check the weather, you're usually just looking at numbers, right? Temperature, chance of rain. But what if a forecast could be more? What if it could tell a story about a place, about its people, and even their inside jokes? Well, we're about to dive into a world where that's exactly what happens. Welcome to Arreqqana.
To really get this, we're going to do something a little different. I want you to imagine you're there, on the Arreqqana Upper Coast. You've just turned on the TV to catch the 7-day forecast. Let's just listen in. So the broadcast kicks off, and immediately, you know this isn't your typical weather report. A guy named Jaru is on, and he describes the temperature not with facts and figures, but by saying it's the exact temperature that makes his friend Pepe's hair super soft. And then you hear it, a voice from off camera. It's Pepe. And just like that, this isn't a script anymore. It's a real, live moment between two people. It's personal, it's funny, and honestly, it just pulls you right in. A little later, the actual meteorologist is talking about day 4, warning about a heat wave hitting 17 degrees. Then Jarud chimes in again, joking that their other colleague, Lou, literally melts at this temperature. So now we've got a number, 17 degrees, but what in the world does that actually mean? All right, so to figure this all out, we've got to start with the absolute basics. They call it the inner flame degree. See, they aren't using Celsius or Fahrenheit here. Their whole system is built on a completely different idea of what temperature even is. In Arreqqana, they measure in Naraqh, or N degrees. And this is where things get really fascinating. A Naraqh isn't just about hot or cold, it also measures something they call resonance energy. So every temperature reading has a kind of spiritual weight to it. That's why they call it the inner flame degree. Okay, so let's put this into terms we can actually wrap our heads around. 0 Naraqh is freezing, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Easy enough. 10 Naraqh is a beautiful 68 degrees, a perfect mild day. But that 17 Naraqh from the broadcast? Whoa, that's a scorching 93 degrees Fahrenheit. So when Jaru said Lou melts, yeah, he wasn't exaggerating much. That is a serious heat wave. All right, now that we kind of get the Naraqh scale, let's circle back to that broadcast. It's time to really decode this 7-day flow and see how their weather becomes, well, basically poetry. So here's the full forecast. And just look at this. Every single day has its own unique, evocative name. It's not just partly cloudy, it's traveler's comfort, it's aether chill dawn, or soft warm alignment. It gives each day its own feeling, its own personality. Now that key moment we overheard in the intro was all about day 4, the day the heat wave hits, 17 Naraqh, the day the forecast officially calls the netter tide surge. And that brings us right back to Jaru's comment. That one little joke connects a hard data point, 17 degrees, to a personal, relatable feeling. The weather isn't just a number, it's Lou melts hot. That's how people there actually experience the weather. And get this, there's even more to it. This heat wave isn't just a random event. It has a specific name, the Vavilan-Sara heat crest. It's a known phenomenon that happens when these so-called fire thread winds blow over the ocean currents. I mean, the weather itself has its own lore. Okay, now let's jump to the end of the week. The temperature drops all the way down to 8 Naraqh. That's about 61 Fahrenheit. A really pleasant cool down. And the name for this day? Aether Soft Cold. So what does the meteorologist suggest for a day like this? Not grab a sweater. No. They recommend a specific activity, taking a lantern walk. They even call it perfect for a date. The weather isn't an obstacle, it's an invitation to do something beautiful. This deep connection between weather and culture goes so far that it's literally written into their language, which brings us to our next section, the language of weather, and how it's represented in the amazing Q Havarella script. Take a look at this. This is the Q Havarella script. When the forecast is published in print, this is what you see. It's not just another language, it's a whole different visual system for communicating something that is just so central to their way of life. And on the bottom of their printed forecasts, you'll often find this proverb, the threads guide the coast. This really points to a deeper philosophy, that the weather patterns, these threads, aren't just random. They're a force that guides their lives. So, what's the big takeaway here? After listening in on their broadcast and digging into their measurements, what have we really learned? Let's put all these pieces together and see what makes the weather in Arreqqana so incredibly special. It really all comes down to 4 things. In Arreqqana, weather is deeply personal. It's woven into the banter between friends. It's poetic,
with these names that give you a feeling, not just a number. It's cultural, shaping what people do and how they connect. And, of course, it's spiritual, with a measurement that reflects a deeper, resonant energy.
And this leaves us with one final thing to think about. Imagine for a second if our own weather forecast were like this. What if, instead of 70 degrees and sunny, the forecast said soft, warm alignment? What if, instead of a chance of snow, it was called an ether-chill dawn? How would that small shift in language change our relationship with the world just outside our door? Something to think about.